Hi everybody, this is Sally the Empath, and I'm starting a brand new YouTube channel. Some of you may seem unfamiliar because I have other YouTube channels in regards to internet marketing. But I wanted to start from scratch and create this channel just so that the specific kind of viewers could find me. Okay, there's so much chaos in the world, there's so much going on. I want to get this information out to the right people. What that means is people that are open-minded, people that can connect with this information, people that are seeking source, spiritual people, and stuff like that. So the whole purpose of this channel is to be a positive environment to share information, to share knowledge that I have from personal experience about the supernatural and about source. This first video is going to be how I reawakened. Okay, so hopefully it's not too long of a video. It's because it's an introduction video, but I wanted to share with you guys a story of how I knew it was time to do this, to dedicate my life's work and for now and in the future to this, because life is short. So I was just recently diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And what that is like it's like a digestion issue. You can look it up. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but I always knew something physically was wrong with me, but I didn't know what it was, and I just recently found out what the source was of my intestinal problems. And what I have is terminal, meaning there is no cure for it. So why do I let you guys know that? Because it's just to prove that life is short, and you have to make the best of it, and you can't worry about you know stupid petty stuff like you know uh, something somebody did to you in the moment, somebody cut you off in the store, the stupid argument you had with a loved one. Those things are so petty, those things don't matter. What's valuable in life is the moments that you share, the positive moments that you share with people, okay? So I just want to put that out there because since I've been diagnosed with Crohn's, I've looked at things in a different light. Okay, so I've been open to a lot more things. I've been a lot more connected with myself, with source, and I've accepted my new path, my new journey. Okay, so let's begin. All right, I'm rambling always. All right, my awakening. So, how did I know it was time to do this? Well, I come from a family that is gifted with abilities. Okay, my dad at a younger age, he was a healer. He actually could heal people with his hands, with energy. A lot of Asian, holistic medicinal practitioners do this. And my dad actually, he did study martial arts, and he did see like some sort of Buddha thing. So, he did learn the ways of healing, holistic healing. Okay. And so at a young age, he had those abilities and telepathic abilities and stuff like that. Met my mom, who had her own abilities. My mom was born with clairvoyant, pretty much. Let's just simplify it. She was born with the abilities to see things, the past, the present, the future. And she had, her gift amazed me growing up because I could always, sorry, my phone was ringing. I could always, oh, what a beautiful picture. I'm going to get to why I'm so connected to the Egyptians in a second. Anyways, I have this in the background because they help me clear my mind so I can try and stay focused on one task. Okay, so she was born with the ability to predict things, so you can call her psychic, okay? And I believe that all her children were born with some sort of ability. I actually believe that everybody in this whole earth, because we're connected to source and we come from source, has some sort of ability. Problem is we're brainwashed, okay? We come into this world and we're put into the rat race, and we forget what we came into this world for. So I'm going to talk about a lot of these theories, if you will. Again, I'm only going to share personal experience with you, nothing that I've read, or I might do some research on some things, but for the most part, my videos will be personal testimony, okay? Anyways, we come into this world with abilities, all of us. So I'm not special. All the people that, have abilities aren't special. We all have this. We can all tap into this. It's just most of us are afraid to do it. So anyways, I come from a family that has abilities. Well, more than average abilities. Now, I was always fascinated with my mom's gift. I would always bother her and say, read me, do the tarot cards, do scribing. Scribing is where you can see messages in water. And I mean, she could do everything. She could read my cup of tea, like read me messages in a cup of tea. I mean, amazing ability. And how do I know she was the real deal? Because before she would give me a message, she would write it down. Because there's you can say, oh mom, you know me very well, that's why, or you guessed on this. But she was so good that there was no room for denying it. She would write, she's like, oh, I gotta tell you something, but hold on. And she would write it down on a piece of paper and put it in an envelope and seal the envelope. And then she would put it down and say, okay, now we can sit down, I can tell you what I'm gonna tell you. So this was so that any doubt would be debunked. Because if you hear things about psychics where they can do cold readings are where you can kind of read body language and kind of go with that. Like, you can, if you analyze a person long enough, you can like look at their body movement and their eyes windows to the soul, tell you a lot, give you a lot of information. So cold reading is that, they kind of reading your body language. So to debunk any theory, she would write down, what she saw or whatever first on a piece of paper and seal it. Then she would relay the message. And when we were done, I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. She would say, now go ahead and open that piece of paper, that envelope. And it would be the message that she just gave me. So that to me is a real psychic, okay? When I see a lot of people on TV, I kind of get rubbed the wrong way because I can tell, like by looking at them, which ones are fake, just because I have the personal experience of my mother who was very legit. Because she didn't even need a medium, like a medium to relay the message. Not like a physical person, but like a medium, like tarot cards is a medium to relay messages, or let's just call it a communication tool. She could just tell you, boom. But the thing is, and she even told me, she's like, people need tarot cards and people need, all these things, because if you just tell them, hey, so-and-so spirit wants to give you this message, and you have no medium of exchange, right, no communication tool, then they look at you like you're crazy. So that's why the tarot cards and the crystal balls and all those things come into play, because people need to see a physical thing that they can say, oh, okay, the message is coming from there. But really, my mother taught me that messages can be whispered in your ear. Most of the times, I would say 80% of the time, they come in dreams. But because it's easier to communicate with us in dreams. But okay, I'm going to stop right there because that could lead to another conversation. All right, bring it back to the whole point of this. So my calling. I'm going to tell you a story about when I knew it was time, and it happened this year. So obviously I grew up with families with abilities. I myself felt I had some sort of ability, but I suppressed it because I was scared. And growing up, I always had a lot of nightmares. Shortness of breath is one of the signs. Some psychic mediums or whatever, healers, spiritual people, they have different ways of knowing when they're connecting. For me, it's shortness of breath. When I get that shortness of breath, I know that, there's something around. Other people get anxiety and stuff like that. So this year, I was visiting my parents, and of course, anytime I'm with them, it's like, because their energy is so strong, it brings out my energy. And I had a beautiful experience. I call it an awakening experience at their home. And I'm just going to tell you exactly how it was. And you take away with whatever you want to take away. But after having this experience, it was a clear indication to me that I had to do something, or else I would lose my abilities. Because why have something that you're going to leave dormant? So I don't want to lose it, because I'm no longer afraid. When I was young, like I said, I was afraid. I had a lot of nightmares. I would see things, shadows, all that. It drove me nuts because I thought I was going crazy, okay? But now as an adult and I have a child, I'm a lot more stronger. And because of my child, I have to be fearless for her sake. So now I can tackle those things. If I see a shadow now or this or that, hear voices, I'm not like, oh my God. I pretty much can say, what do you have to say to me? So I kind of approach spirits in like, not an aggressive manner, but kind of like a, I'm not scared anymore type of manner. So say what you got to say and stop messing around. That's how I talk to the energy that's around me. And they do. They usually tell me in my brain, like your mental thoughts. They tell me whatever they need to tell me, or they tell me in dreams. But I didn't know it was time. So I was at my parents' house, and it was like the second day I was there. And well, throughout the whole day, I was seeing signs of things like shadows here, hearing things, and all that. Their house is very active. But at night, I had a beautiful experience, and this is what it was. When I went to bed, it was around 10 o'clock, 10:30. I usually suffer from insomnia, and I have to take sleeping aids. And that's because my mind is always racing. I have tons of thoughts, like a mile a minute, okay? And I also receive messages all the time. So my brain doesn't really stop ever. So obviously, I'm on vacation. I didn't have my sleeping aid, so it took me a while to go to bed. I finally did. At 3 in the morning, I woke up, and to be exact, it was 3:33, 3 a.m. with 33 minutes. Okay, and I woke up at that time. Here we go. And obviously, that alone should tell you that something was going to happen. Something was going to go down, because that's a spiritual time, 333. It's actually a master number. But you pay attention anytime you see numbers in sequence. So I rolled over. I saw that the clock said 333, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to get out of bed. So you know, kind of when you're in and out of sleep, right? Well, the next thing that happened forced me to get out of bed because it was creepy. I was lying there awake, you know, trying to go back to bed, and I felt a sensation of something pulling the covers off of my body. So like I was facing to the left, so it was like on my right leg or thigh. It was like pulling my blankets off. I could feel that very clear sensation. First, I'm like, okay, it's nothing. My mind playing tricks on me. It's 3 in the morning. And I started like breathing heavy, you know? So I'm focusing on my breathing to get those thoughts out of my head. That's, you know, something crazy. And as I'm focusing on my my breathing, of course, you know, the blankets kept coming off of my body. So I'm like, okay, this is a clear thing. This is happening. I can't deny it. So I turned around just like fast. Like, okay, here it is, whatever it is. It was really dark in the room, and there was nothing there. Obviously, I couldn't see anything. It was just black in the room. All the lights were off in the house. And I got real scared. And see, that's the problem with us and why spirit doesn't communicate as often as they want to. We freak the hell out. It's called primal fear. As soon as we think we see something, our heart starts racing, and then we're like, oh my God, you know, I don't want to see, I want to see, you know? And that's how I was for the longest time. So, you know, I turned around, I put the covers on my bed, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what it is, go away. And I started praying, you know? And so it wasn't more than like, I don't know, 10 seconds is what it felt like to me. Excuse me. It wasn't more than like 10 seconds when all of a sudden, because remember, my face is under the covers and the room's dark, I saw a white light. It's almost like you go in, it's almost like you're inside. Okay, picture this, like you are inside a place, pitch black, right? And then all of a sudden the doors open and it's so bright as hell outside, you know, to the point where you can't see. It's like that. It hurts your eyes. Okay, that's how bright the light was, like a white light that took over my. So how do I explain this to you? I didn't see it with my two eyes. Remember, I'm like this and the covers are over me, but I can see through my third eye this white light, okay, that pretty much took over the room. So it's like my third eye was open. I'm seeing this through my third eye because my two normal eyes are closed, is the best way I can explain it, through my mind's eye, okay? So I am awake. It's not a dream, because remember, I was focusing on my breathing, trying to like disregard whatever was happening, and then this white light comes over. As soon as that white light comes over, and like I said, I'm under the covers and my eyes shut, but this white light is very bright on my third eye view. All these things started happening really, really fast. And I was like, what is that? So The next sequence of events are gonna sound crazy. So just follow me, okay? Follow me on my path. White light, whoosh, right? 3 bright white angels just flew, just like that. Like just crisscross flew through the room, okay? As soon as I saw those 3 angels, I immediately said, go protect my daughter. That's just what came out of my mind, okay? Go protect my daughter. And again, it wasn't vocal with words. It was like I'm talking to myself. You know when you have a thought like, should I go today? You know, but you do it here. Should I choose, cheeseburger? That was how I was talking to myself, but I said it like, go protect my daughter, like that in my mind. 3 angels swishing through. After the 3 angels, Falcon flew through. Literally like that. So it's kind of like 3 angels, Falcon. Well, the Egyptian Falcon, I guess he's Horus, right? I had to look him up, but it was like an Egyptian Falcon who flew through out the door. I don't know where he went, but he flew through. Then this huge, and I mean huge, and this is why I have this here. It's kind of like a reminder. This is the best way I can explain what the thing I saw was like 8 to 9, maybe 10 feet tall. I mean, massive, like a giant, and like stomping through the room. And I'm saying, go protect my daughter. Every time I see a new entity or a spirit guide or a vision, whatever you want, a creature, whatever you want to call those things that were coming through, every single one, I kept saying, go protect my daughter. Maternal instincts. Well, the next thing I saw after the Falcon was this massive giant that looked like, this is the best way to explain it. And I told him, go protect my daughter. And he walks, with these massive legs through my room and he says, Amon-Ra. That's what he says. And he goes through the room and my daughter was in the next room over, and it's like he goes to the next room over and he plants himself, like boom, plants himself in front of her door, and I hear the staff go like that, okay? So like he put the staff down. And so then he's blocking my daughter's door. As soon as he did that, now I'm wide awake, and this is like beautiful. All this thing is happening. I'm seeing it happen in my mind's eye, and it's like this is real. This is not imagination. Then this leopard lady comes through, and she's on my left-hand side, and beautiful black hair, Egyptian again, but looks like a leopard lady. She just looks at me. I mean, she's like close, like right here. If like she was a real person, you'd be like, give me space. But she kind of just walks through that close and keeps walking. We make eye contact, and she keeps walking. Didn't really say nothing to me. And then I saw a snake, which don't like snakes, but that kind of zipped through. And then, and that was that. All those beings, okay, came through. And after they all went through, and I told them all the same thing, go protect my daughter. I like sat there. There we go. That's the Falcon I'm talking about. We sat there at the edge of my bed. I sat there and I'm like, okay, now what? Literally, now I said with my words, now what? I had the courage to get up at this point after seeing those things, those deities, my spirit guides, clear as day. And I got up and I walked, up to the doorway of the room I was in. And I looked down the hall and it was dark and I was scared to go down the hall. I could actually hear like a hellhound, like grr down there, down the hall. So I didn't want to go. Anyways, so I kind of scooted quickly to where my daughter's room was, and I looked in on her, and she's like dead asleep. And there was another bed next to her, so I sat there for about 5 minutes, just sitting there, like asking myself, what was that all for? What is the point of this? What was the message I was supposed to receive? And then I wasn't afraid anymore. It all happened really fast, but kind of like in slow motion at the same time. I can just say it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful to experience. And I've never experienced something so vivid before, okay? So after sitting there for like 5 minutes, I got up and I went back to my room and, said a prayer. And then I just tried to go back to sleep, and nothing happened after that. Of course, when I woke up in the morning, I shared my story with my family. And my daughter says, oh, mom. And see, my daughter was born with an ability too, but hers is like strong because she she can see things. I mean, it's crazy. And she's not afraid. Even crazier. Anyways, she was like, Mom, I saw during the day, she goes, Mom, I saw a black bird go into your room. And I go, what do you mean? And she goes, well, when I was outside washing the car with Grandpa, there was this black bird, and I told Grandpa, there's a black bird. Look, he's going inside the house. And Grandpa said, oh, it's just your imagination. Don't worry about it. Because I've never told my parents that my daughter has abilities. We just don't talk about it. Anyways, so she said she followed the blackbird in the house and it walked into my room and then it just disappeared. So obviously she was referring to a crow. And I showed her a picture. I was like, okay, is this what the blackbird should look like? She's like, yes. So what is my interpretation of what happened? Okay, so my parents' house is very charged. That's the best way to explain it. Excuse me. Very charged. So there's a lot of activity. There a lot of spiritual activity. And they've lived in vortexes before. I'll make a video about that. But they get followed by tons of energy and spirits because again their abilities combined and they've been through a lot of experiences, so everywhere they go there's some sort of activity going on, and a lot of it's not good activity. It's not, you know, positive things. So I believe like their house, there was something going on there, and my spirit guides came to me and revealed themselves for the very first time to tell me, you can do this, be strong, be brave, we are here to help you. Now, I've always felt connected to the Egyptians ever since I can remember. I've always been fascinated with, you know, hieroglyphs, and I used to wear rings back in the day in the 80s and 90s where it was like cool to wear those knuckle rings, stuff like that. I would wear like hieroglyphs and stuff like that, and I actually have it somewhere. Egyptian necklaces, and I mean, I still wear the chandelier earrings. That's just like my thing, but I never knew why I was so connected to it. When I had that experience, it made so much sense. Because maybe in my past life or whatever, I was Egyptian, who knows. But my deities and my spirit guides are Egyptian, you know. So I have a few of them, and I also have celestial beings. I also have angels that are my spirit guides. We all have angels, by the way. So I have a combination of the two, which is really awesome. It makes me really happy. But that, in a nutshell, was, I guess, the turning point in my life where it's like, it's time. It's time to pursue this because you have the abilities. You can help people, not be afraid, and just share your experience, share your knowledge. So, you know, I don't really aim to get nothing except for spreading the word that, you know, that stuff is real. You know, spirits exist, and we're all energy, ghosts. All that stuff exists. And if you're out there and you're struggling with any of this, or you just want to vent about your experiences and you don't want anyone to judge you or think you're crazy, then reach out to me, because I feel like that's what my calling is. And that's why I wanted to start this series, is because just to kind of put out there, you're not alone. This stuff is real. It happens. And I'm just starting, you know, this journey myself in accepting what is, you know, what I have, how I can connect to source. And then the next series of videos that I'm going to make is pretty much sharing experiences about things I know. Oh, you definitely have to tune into the next video, because I had this little experiment with a crystal ball, the one behind me, and you are not going to want to miss it, because I actually captured spirit on my phone. So you want to see those. So subscribe if you're into this type of thing, if you're not afraid to get the information, because I'm going to be researching things for you guys, and I'm going to be telling you different videos about my experience with proof. And I hope you connect. So if you connect, subscribe. And if you like what I'm doing, definitely support my videos. All donations are welcome, because I'm going to continue putting this message out there until you guys tell me that you don't need it or you don't want it and stuff like that. Okay? Bless you guys all. Don't ever live in fear, and spread love as much as you can. All right? Thank you guys.